Welcome back, everybody. I am still learning about the Warhammer 40k universe, so keep the recommendations coming down in the comments below. And today we're going to be watching the Warhammer 40k Every Faction Explained Part 1 by Bricky. And if interested, we have a Discord and Twitch link down in the description. But without further ado, let's get into it. I am excited.
As someone who doesn't necessarily serve the Omnissiah, but someone who can appreciate them, you will not be getting my legs today, as I will be replacing them with various things depending on which...
What is the Omnissiah? I've already gotten a reference that went over my head. Do they replace people's body parts, perhaps? And I'll just find out. Also, those are some nice legs.
Which faction we are currently talking about to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell I am currently doing. So, hello everybody, my name is Bricky, and this is going to be a long video and a large project that has been going on for quite some time. This is, I need two hands for this. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell.
Are races and factions the same thing? Are all races unified together? Like all orcs don't fight each other? They don't fight amongst each other? Have we gotten past that point? I find that hard to believe for humans. Weren't humans fighting each other in that other video I watched? Or were those solely chaos humans, which then count as a different race? Are all humans unified? I could be wrong. I guess I'll find out. I should stop asking questions, I guess.
Nutshell, explained, a little bit of explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about the tabletop, but mostly lore, what they're all about, and also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is. Now you see, Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 is a universe people hear plenty of, but don't know a whole lot about. They see, oh, there's these dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old green orcs, and there's some bugs over there, and everyone calls these guys weebs, and then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand.
He's literally describing me right now. This is all going over my head right now, but I'm guessing he's going to explain it. Also, they all seem like spiky bitches. Everyone's got spikies. Except, I guess, the humans, they just have holy gothic spikies.
Where do I start? Well, this video is particularly for you, or for those of you...
What the fuck? You can't just dox me like that! He put a picture of me on there! That's me! I'm the heretical viewer who has no idea what's going on. Why does his nose look like something that would be really fun to squish? Okay, intrusive thoughts aside, he has way too much skin.
Who have a little bit of knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer. So, overall, the Warhammer universe is vast when it comes to lore and background, and each different faction is so different with the things that they believe in.
Go back. How many was that? That's... Oh, okay, I was not expecting this many factions. I guess it is a part 1. I was kind of thinking maybe there was going to be like 8. There's also space wolves. Are there sentient wolves out in Warhammer? Why have I never heard of this if that is a thing? Sentient wolves? Alien wolves? No, they're probably just like something that called themselves space wolves. Whatever. I'm getting distracted. There's way too much here. Oh my god, the Grey Knights, Eldar, Dark Eldar, Orcs. Ooh, Dark Eldar. Are they like... That sounds like elves. Are they elves? There's always elves.
And some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these crazy-ass electronics on them. You've got aliens, and you've got the Chaos factions, and there's so much to entail that I decided to embark on this project to tell you what each and every single one of them is about, and what the Warhammer universe is about as well, to give at least a little bit of an intro to this extremely bloated but very, very enjoyable world that I and many others partake in.
Enjoyable for us because, as people have told me, it's a grimdark. Everything sucks and everybody's some shade of bad guy. So we get to have fun while everyone else has a pretty bad time.
So, I will be explaining every single faction in the Warhammer 40k universe, at least all the factions you can play as, and some smaller factions here and there. I will not be discussing absolutely every...
Why does that guy look like Judge Dredd? He's a holy Judge Dredd. Is this a Space Marine? I've never seen one that looked like that. Oh, there are going to be different variations?
Everything in it, because that is a little bit much, and I'm not going to go too mega deep into the lore. I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the tabletop as well in case you're...
God, that looks expensive. Oh my goodness, how much would that cost? That's got to be like, what, hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000 or something? Oh my god, and I couldn't paint that. I'd fuck that up so badly. It'd look like shit.
We're curious about that. But for this episode entirely, we are discussing the Imperium of Man.
Wait, there's enough factions within Man that it's going to take an entire video? I thought there were just like, all the Space Marines for the Imperium of Man with the normal troopers. Do they fight amongst each other? What?
Because that takes up a fat chunk of Warhammer lore. Oh, boo-hoo. What is Warhammer 40,000? Well, the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000, the 41st millennium. That's where it takes place, is in the year 40,000, 41,000 AD.
I was about to say we're halfway there, but no, we're at 2,000. Oh my, we have like 20 times what we are right now to get to there. Oh, that's a really far out place. At least it means we got global warming figured out.
You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote, first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods.
Okay, some questions, which I hope he will answer. One, so the Emperor has been around for thousands of years, it sounds like? Or at least 1,000 or something like that? Is he a god? Is he literally just pretty much the version of Jesus, but he didn't die? Okay. Second, he's a rotting corpse, but he's alive on a throne. Okay. That'll be explained. Third, they've forgotten a bunch of technology, so they have become way more religiously zealoted. That makes sense from what I've seen. And they have forgotten the technology, yet they have spacefaring abilities. Is it that they can keep up the technology, but they're really, really bad at building more? Like, they don't understand the intricacies of making said technology, but since they're standing on the shoulders of giants that did build them, they can maintain them, do maintenance and whatnot, but they can't make more? Is that the type of future we're living in? That's kind of, something in a setting for sci-fi. What else? Only no. Oh, and there's only no war. There's no war, no peace. That makes sense. Grimdark. Okay, I'm following. This sounds like a scary time, but I guess that's the point.
Everything
Spaceballs. Blow. Suck. If you haven't seen Spaceballs, watch it. Sorry.
blows. And it blows fucking hard. Warhammer is probably the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction, or at least like top 3. Everything is so absurdly horrible.
How big is that thing? I'm not getting the scale here, but that feels like that's a skyscraper. Oh my god, it's like one of those sock'em bopp'em robots, but he's got a huge cannon. And are those planets in the background? Oh my god, I love sci-fi space settings so goddamn much.
Destructive or overpowered that it all kind of ends up canceling itself out. It's like Dota. War rages.
Why was that the French flag? I'm gonna be making myself look like a fool if that isn't. Why did he put a French flag with Dota?
across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day to a rotting carcass of a man who you believe to be your god.
Does he mean a literal 1,000 people? I'm sorry for pausing and asking questions, but these are the things that are going through my mind that I've never seen this before. Does he just mean like in war, 1,000 people at least must die? Because that's probably pretty easy, right? And we're in the galaxy and the stars and everything. There's got to be like, billions, if not a trillion people, right? Humans love to fuck.
Demonic gods and just demons tear open the fabric of reality on a whim. Other Xenos or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy. It is a time of unending war, slaughter, and a bloodbath.
Why are the Space Marines not wearing helmets? You're gonna get domed by a sniper, my guy. I've played Halo Reach. You are not gonna pull a cat on me. God, I hated that. There's a weird overlap between this and Halo, but I had to bring it up. That cat from Halo should not have died the way she did. I literally didn't want that to happen. I said while I was getting the game, I don't want any of these Spartans to die from getting sniped just randomly. And it happened. And I don't want it to happen to these Space Marines because honestly, they seem kinda cooler than the Spartans.
Amongst everybody. Planets are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks, but that's like the charm of it. See, everything in Warhammer is evil, but being evil is kind of fun. Like, humanity in its own right is a xenophobic, prejudiced, and religious zealot group that kill each other just as much as they kill all of their enemies. And they're like mid to high tier evil.
Wait. Evil scale. We're mid to high, but on the top it's my rolls, okay, because it's a tabletop. That guy, don't know what that means. Why do people hate Tau players? And then we got Orcs, Eldar, Tyranids, you can't see it, but I can. Playing low tier for fun. I don't know what that means, but apparently they're not that evil. Playing by intent. I don't know what that means. And guys who bring food. Okay, I get that one. Yeah, they're not evil. If you're gonna bring food to an event, you're okay in my book. You get a pass on a lot of things if you're gonna feed me.
On the evil scale of Warhammer, nobody is good. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor, some color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy. But that's the fun of it, because being the bad guy is badass. Villains are cool.
Why is that the case? Villains get all the coolest stuff. They get the best hair, the best looks, the best weapons, the best costumes, everything. They always make evil people look amazing. Is it just because, evil, it's tempting, it's the temptation, so they have to make it look more alluring for the audience? And also, it is just fun. People love those games where you get to just be a bad guy because, it's something you don't get to do IRL, and you don't want to do IRL, so it's just living out a fantasy that you don't really want to do IRL, but it's fun to do it in fiction. Same thing with like religious zealotry and that type of honor-bound, no holds bars, stick to your guns belief in something that, IRL, a lot of people obviously not into that, and that's honestly understandable. But in fiction, you're just like, oh, that's so much fun to just be like, oh, fuck the Xenos, fuck this, oh, blood for the blood god, for the emperor, all that stuff. It's just fun because you get to act out something that is like primal in us, but we don't want to do IRL. At least that's my theory.
They look cool, they got cool outfits, they got cool weapons, they got cool armies. Villains are cool, man. And when everyone is a villain, everyone is pretty cool. That's what makes this so charming, is that everyone can be the bad guy. So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack.
The Imperium of Man is the main empire of the human race. All of humanity is under this one flag called the Imperium. And about 10,000 years ago, there was a man. He was the Emperor of Man.
There he is. Oh, I'm so sorry that he's a corpse now, because he's got all these cool details on his armor, but I keep looking at his hair. I'm honestly really jealous of that hair. Oh, it looks so good. But the detail on the armor, what is he, like 10 feet tall? Something like that? He's got a little projector behind him to make it look like he's holier than thou. I love it. It's all about presentation if you're an emperor. So he's got that on lock. And you're telling me he's been alive for 10,000 years? How does he keep his skin like that? Is he a literal god? Maybe that's ambiguous in the universe. But I'm wondering how he became the God Emperor? Or was he just a man that just happened to just have some genetic stuff where he just lived for fucking ever?
Kind, a 10-foot tall
I was right!
psychic demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds, create superhuman soldiers, and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts. In the world of 40k, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like...
Oh, hang on. Okay, he's explaining the warp, so I'm not going to ask questions on that, but I am noticing there are teeth within teeth within teeth, and eyes within the warp. I feel like I don't want to be there. And there's lightning. Okay, this is like an extra dimensional he's going to explain. Let's go.
Hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff. Like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff, spells, and lots of other things.
It's kind of like the Force within Star Wars, that it's all around us, or it's somewhere within the universe, or somewhere that's connected to the universe, and certain people can then tap into it to do, what people would consider to be magic. But it's really them tapping into this force or being or energy that is around us or accessible to certain people. That's my guess.
But we don't want to get too into that. The Emperor, big boy psyker, top tier, A+, maybe even S. Now the Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of sons known as the Primarchs. He created 20, 18.
Why did he start with 20? Is there like some disconnect in the lore, or we're too disowned? Maybe he'll mention it, but that seems like an intentional detail he did there, where he said 20 and then intentionally corrected himself to 18. Also, apparently in the top left is Guts. Apparently Guts is a son of the Emperor.
18 Primarchs, to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars and plans to help colonize and bring it out. These Primarchs...
Okay, don't take this the wrong way, but why is he black? Not like that. I mean, he's literally like the color of the night sky. Like, no human has that skin tone, is what I'm meaning, and he has red eyes. I'm not getting that's not what I mean. Don't take me the wrong way. But I'm very curious. Like, this has to be for something. Did they live on a volcano planet? I don't know. But whenever you're on a volcano planet in sci-fi, they give you like rockish looking skin, and that's what it makes me think of.
Are basically like little versions of the Emperor. Not all of them are psychers, but a lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 of the 18, half of his Primarchs directly to Earth to fight down the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier, the warp, that immaterium, the hellish place? In there relies the 4 Chaos gods.
I'm really glad I'm covering up one of these, and for you that know Warhammer know who I'm covering up. I don't know what their name is, but you know what they look like. So there's 4 old gods, or 4 elder gods, great ones, something like that, kind of like H.P. Lovecraft, I'm assuming, because they look very Lovecraftian. And there's one that I'm going to make some guesses on what they are. Top left, he's the one about war and violence and anger and stuff like that. He's got the red aura and he's on a throne, which makes me think he's a leader of sorts. He looks down on his soldiers and subjects. The bottom left, I don't know, like pestilence. It looks like he's cooking up death. So it makes me think of that. This is kind of one of those things within fiction where they always make it bloated and he's got like weird tendrils and an miasma of death and disease. So I'm going to guess that. The one that I'm blocking, lust. If you want to have a lot of fun, sexy times, you pray to this one. Maybe if you want to become a demon with tons of tentacles to do stuff, with people, I guess you pray to them because... God damn, they look kind of like a mermaid? So, a smash. And top right, I have no idea the god of snakes, or the god of medicine, because the snakes are wrapping around himself, kind of like the staff for medical professionals. But he does have a mouth for a crotch, so maybe he's the god of dick eating. I have no idea for this one.
Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans. The warp being kind of evil, those chaos gods, that's the reason.
Oh no, cover it up.
So those chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate.
No, go back. What is the level of detail here? Oh my god, the artwork. Also, how big is this man? He's holding up 2 torsos that are the size of his fist. He's like 20 feet tall. And maybe those people are taller than normal. Oh my god. He kind of reminds me of Radagon. Radagon? The big boy boss from Elden Ring, because he's even got like those 2 swords. But to those, they look like they're butter knives for him.
All 8 other Primarchs to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up shit. After this huge civil war...
Oh, I thought that was the Emperor. I was about to ask, why is he blonde? No, okay, that's somebody else. The Emperor's right there.
Horus died, but not before brutally wounding the Emperor. And right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon, so long as he stays alive, and is fed 1,000 people a day.
Okay, they literally mean 1,000 souls. Okay, why did they have this throne? Were they prepared? Like, okay, if the god emperor dies, we need to do something, or he's about to die, we need to do something. We got to be ready. So someone make a throne, and, you know, what are we going to power it with? What about 1,000 souls a day? Sounds good to me. Were they just ready for this, or is this like an ancient artifact? Did the emperor come up with it? These are the questions I have.
Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40k, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier.
Oh, okay. I think I know what this is then. It's kind of like hyperspace from Star Wars, where, you know, if you're going to be doing sci-fi in space and you're going to be traveling to other planets, you have to have some explanation on how you get there so fast, because light is fast. It ain't nearly fast enough for that. So they always create like a pocket dimension or something that you go through that doesn't get you there instantly necessarily, but it gets you there a lot faster. Kind of like the Nether within Minecraft, where it's like, I don't know, 4 blocks in the Nether is 1 block in, or 1 block in the Nether is 4 blocks in the non-Nether. I don't know, but you can travel a certain distance in the Nether and then come out way further in the real world. So it's kind of like that, I'm going to be guessing, for the warp. Oh man, you have to go through where the demons are? Well, that sucks.
But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in
I fucking called it! Oh! Dude, I know too much about sci-fi. I love sci-fi.
Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between going to areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive, you can do that. The moment he dies, interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity. You're so boned. Now, since the Horus...
Why? What? I get that he's the North Star, but I'm assuming other races, like the I almost said goblins. No, they're orcs, right? And the other things, I don't know what their names are yet. Don't they do interstellar travel? How do they do it? How do they navigate the warp if they're not? I'm assuming they're not using the Emperor, or is the Emperor just like accessible to everybody as the North Star? Him existing just makes it possible to travel. And I guess since they are not learning new technology in humanity, I guess they're not trying to figure out how to do it without him. I guess that would make sense.
Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially. All technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity, a true living god.
Well, I mean, if he's living for 10,000 years and he's still alive as a fucking spooky skeleton on a throne, providing navigation through a demon dimension. I mean, you could probably convince me that he's a god, and I'd probably worship him, because that sounds like a god to me.
Which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called...
Was he not religious? This God Emperor sounds like an honestly pretty cool dude. I gotta be honest, he doesn't seem bad. It just seems that after his death, people just started to go all downhill without him. And I guess if you're relying upon someone for 10,000 years, when they not die, but they're no longer really in the picture, things are going to go downhill because you don't know what to do.
Called the Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church entirely devoted to spreading the good word of the...
Holy shit, that's a church. Oh my god, I thought that was just one normal building. No, those are refineries down there. Oh my god, how big is that? Are those people down there? Holy shit, the scale. Why is Gothic architecture so badass?
The Emperor. He is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind, and all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent.
Why are there babies? Why are there cyborg cherub babies? Do they kill babies? I mean, they are evil, but are they killing babies to turn into cyborg cherubs just to follow them around? So they seem more holy? Well, that seems fucked up.
And killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic Gothic tone to it and a hefty religious zealotry to them. If you think anything against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic. Heretics die in 40k. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech. So
what is happening to this man? Is he like a battery? Because apparently that's a local heretic being punished. Wow. That seems worse than anything we've ever done in humanity so far. So far, keyword.
So long as you are against the Emperor, there is no such thing as any kind of tolerance. Everyone is a religious zealot. Some more than others, but no matter what, you're preaching that good word. So right now, everyone in humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an alien race of any kind, you are a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well.
As the kids would say, based. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't be racist.
So long as the murder continues and humanity expands, the Imperium of Man is very, very happy. However, the largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard.
Pretty shit now, man. You finished?
Game over, man. Game over.
The Imperial Guard is the main fighting force of the Imperium, and in a world of horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities, the literal demons themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you, the Imperial Guard are untold billions of regular men and women wearing modern day like flak armor with a laser rifle. This is the humble las gun, the main weapon of the Imperial Guard. It fires superheated plasma lasers at an extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable, never...
Ooh, I like the gun designs. They're simplistic, but I know exactly what they are just by looking at them. Like the Voss, that looks like a submachine gun. And the Lucius looks like a shotgun, as the one behind me that you can't see, the Mars, looks like a shotgun. The one below that seems more long range. I don't know the size of it, so it might be more like a pistol type of thing. But these are good designs. You know what they are just by looking at it, but they have a set style, so you know they all belong to the same faction. Really well done.
For jams, it can blow off limbs, giant holes in concrete. It is overall an extremely devastating weapon.
And I know exactly what he's going to say because someone in the comments talked about it. It's really overpowered today. It means nothing to all the other overpowered bullshit in this universe. Not bullshit in a bad way, but all the other stuff in the universe, it's nothing.
In modern day, it is one of the weakest in the 40k.
is jokingly referred to as a flashlight. Oh, well, that doesn't inspire confidence on the battlefield holding one of those.
K universe. Yeah, a laser rifle that never jams, it could blow off limbs, one of the weakest weapons. That's the world we're in right now. But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000 of these men and women. 30,000 large armored tanks, 10,000 artillery batteries. The Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have this World War I, World War II style of...
Yeah, I can see that. They kind of look like that one army from Germany during World War II that I won't say the name because YouTube gets onto you for that. And to be honest, I understand. Because if you're going to do a grimdark future where everyone's a bad guy, makes sense. Secondly, the style that they had looked very good. They had very good style in terms of the attire. So it's something people draw a lot for, making their bad guys look good, just because it's a very good-looking uniform. And it's unfortunately is attached to, some of the worst people in human history, but, what are you going to do? And having these large numbers kind of makes sense. It's kind of like being an ant colony. And ants can take on much bigger prey just through sheer numbers alone. One bite from an ant on a giant scorpion does nothing, but hundreds of ants, they'll rip it to shreds. So it makes sense, even if it is a non-powerful weapon compared to everything else.
Aesthetic with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them, and multiple kinds of troops. A normal Imperial Guard battle starts off with artillery, long lines of artillery, cracking the crust of the planet underneath the enemy's feet. And as this barrage continues, hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward, firing and charging at everything possible while the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun and tanks block out the dirt with the steps and hoofprints of millions of guardsmen. It is through numbers and sheer sundering firepower. They are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles.
And I guess when you're sending this many people to die in wars all across the galaxy, sacrificing 1,000 people to the god emperor himself, what does it matter? They're probably going to die anyways. Might as well sacrifice those 1,000 people. Why not? I don't know how they're sacrificed. Could be really horrible, but still. Seems like a pretty shitty place to be. What does it matter if you lose another 1,000 people? Who cares? You lose hundreds of thousands or millions, maybe, in the galaxy in this universe, it seems. So, yeah. I can see how they would easily just make that conclusion to just do it. Why not? You need the North Star, like he said. Who cares about those 1,000 people? Everyone dies.
The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different...
That one in the middle has a handle. I'm sorry, he has a handle. He has a handle on his head.
Kinds of regiments. The Catachin jungle fighters live in a death world that's more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking, giant knife, Rambo Predator-looking sons of bitches.
I was about to say, if you told me this was some concept art from Predator, I'd believe you. This looks like it could be from Predator itself. Like, oh, it's got some space guns, but it's got a flamethrower. The guns, they could just be, inspired from Alien just for fun or whatever. But, fuck. That's badass. I'm not, if you're into rippling muscles on a dude or whatnot.
Where nothing is anywhere near as scary as a simple knight on their home planet. You have the Valhallan winter soldiers who haven't felt their toes in 300 years, the Mordian Iron Guard who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle, and then of course the big one, the Cadians from Cadia.
Okay, I feel like I'm missing some context here. Why was he so sad about Cadia? Looked like the planet was destroyed, so I get that. Looks like he got chopped in half by a big sword. Maybe that's what happened, but why is he sad about Cadia? I feel like I'm out of the loop on that.
biggest export of guardsmen
Oh God, he's behind me.
in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first swarm lord at 16. And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness like I do daily.
What the hell happened on Cadia? I mean, it looks like it got destroyed, but isn't that what happens to a lot of planets in this universe? Didn't he say that they kind of blow up planets on a whim?
To quote, I have at my command an entire battle group of the Imperial Guard, 50 regiments including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over 500,000 fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command. Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against me, for I shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot. There's something about just a regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge the horrors of this universe and willingly doing so for his god emperor. It's just poetic.
It's, you know, people like it when they see a hero or a soldier having unwavering resolve in something against unbeatable odds. That's just a heroic thing we like to see in real life and within fiction and media. So no, I get it. I see the appeal.
They actually represent the
Okay, I didn't expect them to be so cute. Oh, look at the little zealots. Oh, they got their little flashlights.
main Imperial Guard tactics pretty well. Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight, lots of tanks, tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships. Overall, they're pretty similar to how they sound, though a little bit expensive to collect, unfortunately. And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However, if you want more accurate fire and specialization, we can move on to talk about Space Marines.
Yeah!
The Angels of Death are up next. Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers and superhumans. They're given extra organs, their skin tissue is toughened, their bones are stronger, they're taller than the average person.
They're taller than the average bear, boo-boo. Sorry, I don't know why that went into my head. But they sound like Krogans. They've got tough skin and they've got extra organs. You know, just in case you get a bullet in one of them, you got a backup. I like Krogans, so I like Space Marines. And obviously, Krogans came after Space Marines.
They're pretty massive people, and these are the specialized super soldiers that carry out a lot of the more specific tasks for the Imperium, and there's tons of legions of them. In fact, there's one per Primarch. Each Primarch, the Emperor's son, as I mentioned before, oversees their legion of Space Marines. The genetic upgrade they get is based on the genes of said Primarch. It's something called a gene seed. That's what brings them up to this like superhuman level. As stated, each Primarch has their own legion. Robot Girly Man has the Ultramarines.
Is his name actually Girly Man, or is he insulting him for something because he has nice exfoliation and nice hair?
Jagatai Khan has the White Scars, Rogel Dorn has the Imperial Fists, Corvus Corax has the Raven Guard, and there's a whole bunch of other side sections that are also extremely interesting and have a little bit more of a twist on the average Space Marines, which we will discuss in a bit. Humorously enough, I don't have a whole lot to say about Space Marines. They're superhumanly fast. In fact, it's been said that nothing that large should move that quick. These men...
Watching that previous video, the Astartes, can confirm they shouldn't be going that fast, but it's so badass. It's so cool.
In power armor moving at blazing fast speeds, their reflexes are faster, their skin is tougher. They are overall just extremely powerful soldiers. In fact, where they differ comes down to which Space Marine Legion we're talking about. For instance, the Ultramarines done by Robot Gilliman are the main blue boys, strong in almost every way, the jack of all trades kind of group that are a little bit too strong, and that's a lore problem, but the White Scars by Jagatai Khan are all about speed freaks, go fast. We're talking attack bikes, we're talking land speeders. You want to go in quick, you want to hit them hard, you want them to be swarming around like buzzflies, buzzsaws, with the speed of buzzsaws. Fuck you, Pale King. Salamanders love fire. Fire in the forest.
I called it. Someone mentioned in the comments about like the salamanders. And I was like, oh, let me guess, they like fire. Because salamanders were once believed in folklore a long time ago that they were born of fire, because when people would put damp logs that they would have and put them on a fire in fireplaces, there would sometimes be salamanders inside of the damp logs because they're amphibians, and they would run out because, there's fire. So people were like, oh, they're coming from the fire because, where else would they have come from? It's not like they could have been inside of the log.
Forge, fire, and battle. Flamers, melta-guns, multi-meltas. Just so long as something can be burning, that's big. And they're also actually some of the nicest of the Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines have this kind of like holier-than-thou thing because of their genetic strength. However, the Salamanders tend to put human lives above the lives of themselves, which is actually rather rare.
Well, that's nice. At least there's some goodness. I'm still sure that they're bad guys in their own respect, but it's nice to see that they have some compassion. Does the number 317 mean anything? It's weird that it's like prominently displayed, or it may have just been a random number they picked for the artwork. It's like, this is the soldier's number is just 317. But it's weird that it's prominently displayed in the artwork, and when you draw something, most of the time you don't just draw something for no reason. So, I was curious.
They're also all black, but not like just regular black, like 2 a.m. line at a White Castle black. Like they.
What does that mean about White Castle? I've never been to... Does he just mean it's dark outside? Why couldn't he just say that, huh? But I don't get it. Is there something about White Castle? I've never been to one.
They have a charcoal, dark, ashy exterior and blazing red eyes. Apparently something about living on their home planet of Nocturne, which I don't know if that makes much sense, but who cares? This is like fantasy land anyway.
If Nocturne, which it sounds like, is a planet entirely in dark, in terms of like real scientific stuff, normally that's not the case. Normally they'll have like no pigment. They'll be translucent or very, 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 very pale normally, because there's no point in doing that because there's nothing you need to block out from like solar radiation and whatnot. But there could be other reasons for it. It could be that it's material that they had ingested into their diet that gave them more of a coating of something on their skin that was darker, and it provides more protection as a more natural armor. That could be it.
Overall, Salamanders are actually one of my personal favorite legions because they're just really cool. They're fun to play as because of all their flamer weapons, and they have a nice, like, more heartwarming lore as opposed to being super evil like everyone else is. Oh my god, we're not even a quarter of the way through the Space Marine legions.
Wait, what? Is this oh right, this entire video is just humans, I forgot.
Imperial Fists believe in the power of the siege and defensive positions. Raven Guards, master of stealth and sabotage while having bird helmets. Iron Hands, masters of machines and vehicles while being really goddamn good at being sold on eBay after one nerf. Space Wolves, Vikings and wolves and tons of wolves and...
Oh, those are the Space Wolves. Okay, so they weren't sentient wolves. I'm kind of disappointed, but I'm not surprised. It makes sense.
And axes, battle axes, fur everywhere, space wolves, angry, big teeth, blood angels, the genetic defect to make them want to drink blood and go crazy called the red thirst. They have cupid wings and stuff, which is a little bit strange, and they are all super gay for Sanguinius.
I'm not gay, but I can kind of see why they would be super gay for this guy. I mean, he's gorgeous. Holy shit. How does he keep his skin so immaculate in battle? I'm jealous, honestly. I'm jealous. And did he say that they have to drink blood? Are they vampires? Is this a sci-fi explanation for vampires? I think that may be my favorite faction now. Not because of this guy, just he's a nice bonus.
Dark Angels are old school knights and inner circle theme and...
Huh?
Are you a heretic?
Me? No, never. Once in a blue moon, I know.
Death Watch, a fancy-pantsy anti-Xenos group that nobody plays because Death Watch, and they look cool though, but no one plays them. I don't know about Death Watch. They're there though. Black Templars, for the people who, if you haven't prayed at least 3 times a day, you're gonna start praying out that airlock, and I'm sure there's some other chapters I may have missed as well, like Crimson Fists and stuff, but those are the main ones right here. Here, quote, from the Emperor himself. They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease, no sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror, they are my defenders of humanity, they are my space marines, and they shall know no fear. And on the tabletop, they fuck. Oh, they fuck hard.
I am very, very impressed by the writing in that. I'm guessing the entire book, or books, because there are multiple, are written like that. They know how to write some epic, religious sounding, and awe-inspiring writings. I can see why people get into it. I need to read more. I need to read that.
As of making this video, Space Marines are laughable.
What the fuck is this detail? Oh my god, I would fuck this up by painting. Oh my god, I want one of these, but then I have to paint it and I would ruin it so badly. And how expensive is this? It's gotta be super expensive because of the detail, right?
Strong. That might change at some point, but overall, Space Marines just have it's like a Swiss Army knife.
So expensive looking.
Anything you need, except it's like a gold-plated Swiss Army knife. It is extremely strong. If you are actually getting into the tabletop of Warhammer, Space Marines are a great start. Also, whatever gameplay style you have, whether you want to be sit back with long range and heavy weaponry, go fast and run in, or even just full melee, all of these options are totally there for you. Space Marines are super badass, but unfortunately, it's time we start praying to our new god, the 2011 Honda Civic.
So is it any wonder people are afraid of technology?
Technology!
The Adeptus Mechanicus.
That guy has a penis for a head, sorry. It literally just looks like he has a penis for a head right there, but he covered it out of shame.
The Adeptus Mechanicus are a technophile cult on Mars. Now, these people are a little bit weird because they don't...
A little bit. Most of their body seems to be robotic, and they have a floating skull with a red rocket coming out of one eye with little tweezers. I think they're a little bit more than weird.
Don't actually really believe in the Emperor of Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And you might think, oh,
that sounds like heresy. That's exactly what I'm thinking. That sounds like heresy, brother. Brother. Bring me my gun. We've got some heresy to fucking get rid of.
Whoa, Bricky, that sounds like some heresy.
Heresy!
A little bit. They believe in the Emperor, they believe in his power, but they don't pray to him.
That's heresy. That's heresy. There's one thing I've learned, that's heresy.
Pray to something called the Omnissiah. And the Omnissiah is this kind of machine god that they believe permeates in all machines. And if you think, well, wait a minute, they believe in a different god as well? That sounds like super heresy.
That's heresy.
Yes-ish, but they also make all your guns, and they make all your tanks, and they make everything that you have. So you can't really tell them to fuck off?
Well, that explains how they get more weapons and tanks and whatnot that I was asking about. Good. And I guess we have to let that heresy slide. At least they still believe in the Emperor, so it's only semi-heresy. They can let it slide. Okay.
Because you're not gonna win nothing if you don't got stuff to shoot people with. See, their Omnissiah at least makes sense from their standpoint. They believe it to be a deity that permeates through all machines. Your Honda Civic, your standard bolt.
Okay, what's with the jokes with the Honda Civic? That's, I think, the second time he's done it. Someone please explain.
Your Dune Strider Walker, your giant mechs, your huge ships. The Omnissiah is present through all. And the only reason your stuff works is because the machine's spirit in it says it works. If you want your gun to work, your tank to run, you must pray to it. And I mean full stop. You need to start chanting in high Gothic. You need to burn incense. You need to sit on your knees and pray to that car. You need to rub oil on your robes, and you need to go ahomina, homina, 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 homina. Full stop. If you want your damn thing to work, if you want your gun to fire, you need to do that.
So when I'm having audio issues when I'm trying to record this and my PC is about to explode because it's overheating, I just have to do that? I'll do it. I will honestly do that if it can make me not have technical issues anymore. So I think I found my new religion, guys. Excuse me while I go buy a red robe and some oil to lather on myself sensually. For the praying, obviously. For the praying.
They are very bizarre, and they actually have a bit of a point, because it's obviously working. And if you look at them, I don't know how that works. So they obviously know something about what they're doing. The most notable member of the Adeptus Mechanicus is Archmagos, Magos, whatever, Belisarius Call. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Yeah, this is the group we're talking about. These are these weirdos. Here, the Omnissian Creed. The credo, Omnissia. There is no truth in flesh, only betrayal. There is no strength in flesh, only weakness. There is no constancy in flesh, only decay. There is no certainty in flesh, but death.
Kind of sounds like the Jedi code or the Sith code and whatnot. I like it. It's very simple. It has a nice rhythm to it, a nice pattern. I like it.
Flesh is weakness. Flesh is death. The Omnissia is the god of the machines, and if you wish to be whole, if you wish to be holy, if you wish to give unto him, you must saw down your limbs and remove your organs and replace them with mechanical parts, because that is what he wants, and that is how you will become enlightened.
Do I at least get anesthesia? Because honestly, I kind of get it. Flesh is pretty bad compared to metal. You can just repair and place that stuff really easily. So I'd take a robot body if I could do that. That makes sense to me. But please give me some anesthesia, because I'm a fucking wimp when it comes to pain.
Hard technophiles mixed with religious extremism. Adeptus Mechanicus. Now for their army side of things, they are with the Scutari. The Scutari operate with very bizarre weaponry and lots of different kinds of vehicles, tanks, and different people in between. They're very weird, but they have extremely wacky and enjoyable, and in fact quite effective both in the real game and in the lore, weaponry and gear. Overall, as an army on the tabletop, they're very weird and have a whole bunch of different shenanigans, but if you like kind of that quirky, wacky techno thing, I'd give them a pickup. Hell, they're so paranoid. I gotta keep going.
They got some weird tentacle shit going on. I'm okay with that, though. I'm into that, okay? I'll be honest, tentacles? That's pretty high up on that tier list of tags, I'll be honest.
They're so paranoid and crazy. These Dune Striders you see right here, one guy was able to make them work. One guy, and he died. And they're so scared they'll never work again that they keep them on and they never turn them off, and they run around in a circle the whole time until they need them, and then they corral it and they go into battle.
They're fucking robot horses. I love it. That's kind of me with my laptop. I never turn my laptop off unless it forces me. So I kind of understand it, because that thing is old. It may not turn back on. I don't want to turn that thing off.
Yep. The Adeptus Mechanicus. Now, if you want to talk about faith, though, let's talk about the Sisters of Battle.
A simp has fallen for an eagle in Lego City.
Wait, is that a goth nun? Do we get a goth nun? That overlaps two of people's favorite types of, adult content.
The Sisters of Battle of the Adeptus Sororitas, if that's...
And they have boob armor. I'm not complaining. Okay, I know it doesn't make sense, really, to have boob armor like that. But from an aesthetic and for appeal, I get it. And honestly, white hair on a woman? Plus. And this woman could probably kick my ass. I love a woman that can kick my ass.
That's how I pronounce it correctly, is an all-female group of battle sisters going through the ecclesiarchy section of the Imperium. The ecclesiarchy is, of course, the church. This is, imagine a private army of the church, which is scary, and it is. The sisters are an extremely zealotous force, and they take this to a full extreme. They believe in three main things: faith, martyrdom, and fire. Through the Bolter, the Flamer, and the Melta, the Sisters of Battle are extremely potent at taking out Chaos and Heretics. Mainly Heretics, because as they are a fighting section of the Ecclesiarchy Church, that's the big thing they want to kill. Any form of heretic will face the Emperor's justice through those three main weapons, the Bolter, the Flamer, and the Melta.
Okay, two things. What is a Melta? I know what the other two are. Second, he's probably going to talk about it because I bet there is something like this. This sounds like there's probably like a secret police somewhere, like the Spanish Inquisition. That's like, oh, no one ever expects the Spanish Inquisition because, you know, they're very religious and zealotous that they want to find heretics within their own ranks. So they're going to have something or someone that is around that can find out and then report it or arrest them. And then bring them to the sisters for some judgment, some kinky time that isn't so fun for them.
And they will do so with extreme prejudice. Literally. They are the closest things we have to nuns in space. And I'm talking hardcore nuns. They carry holy fire on their backs. They have holy books and sigils all across their armor. Their main battle tank is
It's the thing. I'm going to interrupt him. It's the thing that someone told me about. Is this the pipe organ that's literally shooting rockets? It's a rocket launching pipe organ on the battlefield. So it's kind of like Mad Max, where you have badass music and it shoots things. This universe doesn't seem that bad, if I'm going to be honest, if we have this.
Fucking pipe organ missile launcher. They have small babies that they have removed their brain capacity to make them little servant cherubs to fly around and give them ammunition and shit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why.
They drop churches from low orbit as mini drop pods onto battles. They drop churches into battles and they blare war hymns and holy music from their frigates in low atmosphere and shower holy water across the battlefield.
Holy shit, that's badass.
These are the people you are dealing with, and they're fucking awesome. They can literally...
Why is religious zealotry in fiction just so goddamn badass? Like, I'm not religious, I'm sorry, but this makes me kind of want to be religious in a fictional sense. Because if you be like, hey, you want to go to Sunday school? No. You want to go to Sunday school that we just dropped on an alien planet where we're blasting war hymns in space and you get to fight a bunch of shit, have hot nuns that fly around with literal angel wings and everything like that? Oh, and there's a pipe organ that shoots missiles? You know, I might go. You know, I'd have to ask no, I'd probably go. Sounds fun.
Stave off demons on the tabletop because their faith is that strong. Remember the warp, the demons from the warp? Well, the warp also manifests in your mind. All of your emotions, negative and positive, go through the warp. It's the immaterium, the place of all things. So if you are that mentally fortified, that mentally strong, you can stave off horrifying demons. And all these girls, oh, not a crack. Not a crack in that mental armor. Now, as much as a meme as they are, and as much as they're...
What? This is what she looks like after you liked her Tinder profile with the heavily photoshopped pictures, and then you finally meet her in real life, and this is what she looks like. Oh my goodness! Why? They kind of look like... Oh, what do they look like? I don't know, they just look like a grandma. Oh, they look like a lunch lady. Me or the lunch lady, when I tell them that my chicken nuggets are not fully cooked and I would like some new ones, they're like, what the fuck are you insulting my cooking?
Their models look a lot like Ongo.
Or that looks like Ongo, okay.
Yeah, which I can't unsee anymore. I gotta say,
I look like Ongo.
I love their design. I think they're extremely cool. They're another army that I'm currently collecting. They just released a whole new line of figures very recently, and they look wonderful. Everything from Celestine, the living, literally undying saint, from the triumph of Saint Catherine, which is literally a funeral procession.
That they bring a funeral to the battle? Do they have caskets with guns on them? Oh, it reminds me of that one meme. The dun 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 dun.
As a model, those organ tanks I mentioned earlier, this shit is the most over-the-top badassery in a lot of the Warhammer universe, and goddamn it is it over the top. But Sisters of Battle are so cool. While I'm a guardsman at heart, this is such a cool faction. By Bolter Shell, Flamer Burst, and Melta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence. So it has been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time. And speaking of burning demons.
I can see. I can fight.
Put down in the comments down below if you know what that's from, because I know, and I'm not going to say it. I want to see how many people actually know what that audio clip that he just played is from.
The Grey Knights are the first army I actually collected back in 7th edition. The Grey Knights are a super secretive and much more old school look at power armored knights, except they are all psychers. All of them have that crazy space magic magician shit. For every 100,000 guardsmen, there's one Grey Knight. For every 10,000 Sisters of Battle, there's one Grey Knight. For every 1,000 Space Marines, there's one Grey Knight. Grey Knights are the strongest of the strong, both in mental will and absolute just strength. These are Space Marines that are all high-level psychers. All of them.
Whoa, I want this. I want that big mech. Oh, I'm a fucking slut for mechs. Oh, I think I may have found my faction, guys.
Able to specifically do one goal, and that is kill demons. The Emperor believed that the demons of chaos were the #1 threat to the Imperium, and he probably is right. However, this group is entirely based on doing that through a myriad of tactics. Coming from the planet, or I guess the moon, of Titan in the Sol system, the Grey Knights are thrown through extremely rigorous training and are as clear of mind and soul as they possibly can be. Since the demons of the warp are the warp and your mind projects to the warp, people can go insane very fast, especially lower level psychers. These Grey Knights need to be able to harness the warp in the presence of demons.
Is that a shotgun wrist rocket? Oh my god. Every single goddamn weapon that they have in this universe is badass and deadly and scary, and I want it IRL. Military, get on that. You like making weapons?
And stay perfectly sane. One of their characters, one of my favorite characters, is named Castellan Crow. He has a demon blade, the black blade of Mahamahama, and he has to have it on him because it tempts everyone nearby, constantly beckoning them. Use my power, use my strength, suck my penis, whatever the possibility. And so he has to keep it on him all the time as this thing whispers to him consistently. And he has to stave it off forever, being alone in his chambers or on the battlefield, because anyone who gets too close to it might be tempted a little too hard. He is that pure of heart and mind, and all the characters in the Grey Knights are basically like that. The only issue is that Grey Knights have a scorched earth policy, more ways than one. If they're fighting demons, demons corrupt and make people crazy. So if I'm a guardsman and I'm fighting demons, and the Grey Knights...
Don't look that up. I'm covering it. Don't look that up. Don't look it up. It's not a normal anime. Not that I would know. No, I mean, I don't know what that is. Species reviewer? I have no idea what that's about. I'm sure they're all lovely ladies. Don't look that up unless you're into a lot of monster girls.
Arrive and they kill all the demons. I'm a risk. And so guess who's not making it out of there? On the tabletop, they're very strike fast, strike hard kind of people. They teleport all around the place. They are fast strike groups, small amounts of models because they're so dang strong. You only have so many characters, but with it, you get in there, you're very tough, very tanky, you hit really hard, and you try to bounce around the battlefield quickly, but you don't have numbers, and so every dead Grey Knight.
Is that Medusa's head? Are there Gorgons in this universe? God damn, they've got demon swords and they have Gorgons? Oh, now they can just turn them to stone and get their pee-pee sucked because they have a sword. What?
hits really damn hard. They're fun, though, if you like that kind of fast-striking kind of army. Oh, and also, Caldor Drago is a thing. We're not even going to get into Caldor Drago.
Oh yeah, we're not gonna get into Caldor Drago. Even I know about Caldor Drago. Who's Caldor Drago? Who is that? I have no idea. It kind of looks like... It looks like he walked in on his kids masturbating. He's got that 1,000-yard stare. He's like, oh shit. I'm just gonna close the door and back out right now.
All right, that is, oh my goodness gracious. I am the hammer. I am the mail about his fist. I am the spear in his hand. Though we are lost, I am the shield on his arm. I am the flight of his arrows. I am the hammer. I am the sword. I am the shield. I am a soldier at the battle at the end of time. Grey Knights are pretty hardcore. They are as holy as you can get for a Space Marine. If you like Space Marines and you don't think they're holy enough, you want to be holier? Grey Knights. Now, if you want to be holier and big, let's talk Imperial Knights.
Oh, Lord, he coming!
Do you like gigantic walkers the size of homes or medium-sized buildings? Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them per turn? Do you want a gigantic, old-school knight noble house style of walkers with giant chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them.
Never mind, I think I found my new faction. It's these guys. What were they called again? Hang on.
Because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old-school, like, house feel to them. Like, literally, like, they're houses. Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers also destroy almost everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads.
Holy shit.
In a couple shots, stepping on legions of troops.
We need a movie.
These things do not mess around.
We need a Warhammer
and they
movie.
Look so cool. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, actually, for that matter, don't have a whole lot to discuss. They're just super big, heavy walkers, and they look different depending on your house or Chaos God you currently.
Are they powered by one person? Is it kind of like a Gundam situation? Or is it like a bunch of people inside of it because they're that big, kind of moving all the parts together? Or is it controlled by a Psyker? If that's a thing. I don't know if that's a thing Psykers do. But, I mean, it has some very fluid movement, so I would assume it's by, like, one person, right?
Believe in. And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project, too. Getting more back down to earth, let's talk something about a little bit different, a little more gold. If guardsmen are regular soldiers, Space Marines are super soldiers. Grey Knights are super soldiers. The Adeptus Custodes are super soldiers cubed. The Adeptus Custodes are the third major army I own. I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay?
That sounds expensive.
They are our final brand of Space Marines, but these ones are super special. Okay, if a guardsman is 6 foot, a Space Marine is 7 feet, a custodian is 8 feet.
Damn.
These are the giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also Earth. Earth is Terra, Terra themselves. These are the people that literally guard the Emperor's throne room, hence Custodes. These boys...
Okay, I was about to ask why they're called, like, Custodes, because it makes me think of janitors. But I guess that's custodians. Guess it's different. But... I kind of like their design. They're not my favorite so far. I think I like the previous ones more so. But hey, points for presentation. The one on the left kind of looks like he has a gut, but I'm sure he could fucking suplex me into oblivion with a finger.
Protect the Emperor's throne room at all times and are literally like handcrafted people. They're not humans brought up by a gene seer or something. These are all handcrafted super soldiers. I think from a tube. These behemoth of men are like
it looks like he's on the toilet.
Functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even the need to eat, watching over the throne room and every other area of Holy Terra for their entire purpose in life. And oh my lord, are they terrifying. These custodians put Space Marines to shame. If you liked your super soldiers, these are your super mega soldiers. One of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and most likely win.
Holy
there are many
shit.
different groups of custodians as well, like the Solar Watch, or there's also one of my personal favorite, the Aquilon Shield. The Aquilon Shield go out to seemingly unimportant individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance, let's say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5-foot tall golden god because that guardsman will end up becoming a general one day or something of that nature.
How do they know that he's like gonna become one? Do they have like oracles? Can they see the future? Or is it more so of like knowing that the person is born into a family that he probably will become a general? Or is it just something that is already planned but it hasn't gone through yet? I'm curious, how do they know that an individual will become important?
Custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered, but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying, both on the tabletop as
Is that a
well as
walker in the
lore.
background?
There are
I
very
thought that was
few
a
of
city.
them, however, and there's actually an extremely small amount of them. But that's kind of the point. There's only so many of these people that can have war gear this strong, weapons this powerful, and training this good. And the custodians have all 3 of it. For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within, little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years, I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years, I stood my watch, and as it ends, I can tell you this: patience is a weapon. The custodians are the top dogs of the Imperium, and they hurt just that same way. Though I do want to discuss a little bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of Silence I also have a few of, and they're really fun, but they don't get enough attention. These kind
Okay, before he gets into it, why do they have like one ponytail where everything else is shaved off? Like if you're gonna shorten your hair or shave off your hair because, you know, you don't want it to be grabbed by battle or by an enemy, which is a thing in real life that people do, why would you have a big ponytail? Because then they can just kind of grab that, and it might get in the way, it might get in your eyes and stuff like that. Is it just a style they just kind of like it?
kind of bald plume
Kinda.
ladies are a whole group of pariahs, or also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on. So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed heavily. Because of that mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them, you feel ill. You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past
Holy
childhood.
shit.
Because once they are birthed, they're, well, killed.
I mean, maybe it's the way that they look. I mean, it's kind of scary. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of them in the middle there kind of has the Harley Quinn look going on, so it's scary. Maybe if they, didn't dress like someone who feels like they're gonna put my head on a pike, they wouldn't feel uneasy.
Or something at a very young age, because they just emit a horrifying aura. These ladies, however, are guardians of the throne as well for more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it, all of them taking a vow of silence as they don't speak, hence the term Sisters of Silence, but they communicate through hand gestures and things of that nature. But if there's a demon issue, if there's any kind of warp-based problem, the sisters are extremely adept at dealing with them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with the custodians because they have to deal with both kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model for them, which is very unfortunate. I hope they'll get some news soon, because I think they should really be working together as it is that way in the lore. But
Wait, if they're a vow of silence and they do hand gestures, what if you need to get someone's attention from really far away? Like, oh, there's a demon! He's sneaking in! I need to call for backup! And whatnot. How do you call for backup? Do you just start fucking hand gesturing violently, and the wind from your hand gestures going so fast and violently kind of just emanates, and people hear like, that sounds like a flapping of the hands for help, and then all the other guardsmen show up?
hopefully we'll get there soon. But if we're talking about blanks, Let's talk assassins.
What the fuck?
It's been a long video. We're about to round it out. We got this and one more human
Oh
thing,
my
and then
God.
we're done. The assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum, oh boy, these people are deadly. Yeah, they're called assassins. They should be, but oh man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Schola Progenium.
Okay, he just looked that up because he had to remember. Does he just know all this stuff off the top of his head? And I'm sure he wrote a script and everything, but does he just know these names? Like he just had to write it down? And this is the first time he's like, oh shit, I actually forgot the name. I need to look it up. Because I'm having trouble just remembering the official names of things that he's talked about like 5 minutes ago. I'm absorbing like what they are. I now know what they are and what they do and the different ranks and tiers, but specific names I'm still going to be having some trouble with for a little bit. I suck at names, but there's so much. This is so dense, and this is part 1.
It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something, you get sent to this and you get trained to be whatever.
There's probably a lot of orphans in this universe, if I had to guess.
Tempestus Drop Troop, an Inquisitor, maybe even. Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks. Poof! The Vindicare Temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins. Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope, for weeks, waiting for their perfect target, taking people out from literal miles away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away. Temples in the head, the jugular, for
And is this with their natural eye? Are they genetically modified for that, or are they using technology? Or is it training? Is it just that they're that good on top of it? I gotta know, because miles, I don't know how snipers actually work, but miles seems like something we can't do today. So that's fucking badass.
For instance, and been sitting there after weeks, and when they're ready, take that shot,
Boom.
time is done, packs them up.
But can they do... what was I gonna say? Been distracted by something on the screen here. But can they do a 360 no-scope? That's the question. This was a very nice time to pause. Hello there. Wow. I have nothing to say but nice. Sorry. She's very well drawn.
The Calidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting and deviant art. It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows...
Wait, she shapeshifts? Are you telling me that those 2 babies are not natural? And I'm not talking about her boobs, you pervert. I'm talking about the eyes. They look wonderful and lovely. I know I can't see them, but I'm gonna stick to my excuse.
A lot of body augmentation for certain individuals.
Again, body augmentation. Are you telling me those tatas aren't real? Damn, you're killing me, Smalls. Actually, real, fake, still, everybody enjoys them. Small, medium, large, boobs are boobs. Boobs are boobs. And I'm into the muscles. I'm into the fit tomboy GFs, I could see this happening. She probably wouldn't date me, and she'd probably snipe me and assassinate me and, I don't know, feed my entrails to, I don't know, a dog or something, because I'd be seen as a heretic since I don't pray enough or something like that.
To be able to kind of transmorph themselves and infiltrate areas that are problems.
I'm very glad there's no eye tracking.
End up taking missions that take them years, 2-3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up, just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed. Or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between. And lots of drawings.
I wonder
Eversor
why.
Temple. Just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is
That's literally Skeletor. You can't convince me otherwise. That's Skeletor. It's me, Skeletor. Sorry.
about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. And Eversor is psychogenically conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho.
Sounds like a Twitter user. Or wait, no, it's called X now. It's not Twitter anymore. They made it X.
Conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo-freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost, full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs, and you just go to town.
He sounds like the Winter Soldier. It's the Warhammer 40k version of having a bunch of Winter Soldiers, but even more deadly and more powerful and more crazy and more angry. But same thing, you know, they froze him, they freeze these guys.
Yeah, if you don't care if anyone comes back alive. You're like, all right, lost cause, send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Caluxus Temple. The Caluxus Assassins are feared even among the other temples. So that blank gene, the people will go to the Caluxus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They are seen with extreme fear and distrust among many, many people. They are described by the Eldar, by quote, as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100.
It kind of looks like the guy in the Pope in the background. Doesn't seem like he's disturbed by this at all. Everybody else is all having a panic attack and everything. That one guy in the back's trying to get to the Pope, tell him to take cover or something. He's just sitting there saying like, God damn it, I was just 2 weeks away from retirement and this shit happens. Fuck me. Second question. Well, that's not even a question, but the question. I'm guessing they're not stealthy, because if they make you literally want to just be dead or you're afraid of everything because of them, aren't you gonna kind of get some warning that they're around of like, hey, Jim, I think there might be one of whatever this guy's name is around here. Oh, why do you think that? I have unrelenting fear going through my entire body for some reason. Oh, yeah, probably around here somewhere. Or is that, or as soon as you feel it, you just can't do shit?
If normally regular people feel uncomfortable, now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer presence of a Caluxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person. The Caluxus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over being anywhere near you.
God damn. Okay, another question. How far of a range does this have? I guess they have to be in like close quarters. They're probably better on an internal field than out on the battlefield, because if they have not that long of range, they could just be sniped or shot from afar before they're close enough to have any effect on them. But internally, it seems like you're just fucked, because as soon as you can see them, they're probably in range for you to just claw your own eyes out or just be paralyzed with fear if you're not a psyker. They seem fucking overpowered, and I love it.
The motto of that temple is, that which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. Now, for the tabletop...
That's true. That's true. For horror films and everything, the scariest thing that any VFX artist or concept artist can create is never going to be as scary as having an unseen monster, because every individual in the audience can then craft their own personal scary monster. You feed them the breadcrumbs on what the monster can do, maybe a little bit about what it looks like, but they never see it. You give them, you see the aftermath of the monster, and then you just let the audience's brains craft the scariest thing for them. The unseen is always scarier than anything you can see because your brain wants you to think of the scariest possible thing so that you are as prepared as possible for whatever that thing is if you come face to face with it. It is mentally preparing you for that monster. And then when you see it, it's always that moment of like, oh, it's not as scary as I thought it would be because of that effect. Your brain prepares you for it. So it's the opposite of show, don't tell. It's tell and not mislead, allure to it, but don't show it until at least the very end. And completely unrelated to that, why does the Skeletor dude look like he just shat his pants?
Top assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are, and they do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicare, and if you have a lot of Psychers, Caluxus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now, let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2. The Inquisition. And we have a lot to talk about with them.
I called it! There's a secret police! It's the Spanish Inquisition, but in space!
On the subject of heresy!
Oh boy. Where do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can think of. The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10.
They kind of look like pilgrims, I'm not gonna lie. But I like the aesthetic, especially the giant fucking skull for a shoulder pad. Damn.
And give them the most power
Is that a crossbow?
in the entire Imperium. No, you know what? How about this? This right here, it's not just a quote. This is the Imperial motto. The motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing. The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their #1 motto is innocence proves nothing.
Well, sounds like you're fucked if they think you're guilty of something because you can't prove your innocence, or even if you can, innocence proves nothing. If they think you're a heretic, you're just dead, aren't you?
The Inquisition goes around like the secret police or like detectives.
That's a Bloodborne. Oh my god. This is such a weird shift in attire and art style, but I dig it. I like it. Ooh. Ooh. I like it. It's a slim look, but it calls back to a more medieval-ish time, I guess you could say.
To find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones. Hereticus is obvious, they deal with heretics.
Okay.
Xenos tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons. They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines. Now, the Space Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos.
They just look like regular people wearing, more normal looking clothing, at least compared to everybody else. And I dig it. And they're at the top of the top? Hell yeah. What's in that book, by the way? Why you got chains around it?
Issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes. And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they
okay, Marie Antoinette wants her hair back. Literally, that looks like the Queen of France, right? Am I the only one who sees that? I guess she's not wearing a helmet because she ain't getting that hair through it. I don't know what to say about that hair. I'm sorry. It struck me as odd. I mean, she pulls it off. She pulls it off. But even more of a change in design. I expected most of this just to be like sci-fi-ish space stuff, but now at the very end, they're showing us these assassin-looking things with and whatnot that still have the skull aspects, and even these have it. But now they're doing a more even olden time outside of just knights, and I like it.
Spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power and sometimes a bit of a power complex. And we haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus. Exterminatus is deeming a planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet as it is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocents proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain. Now it is.
I mean, it's pretty badass. I'm gonna guess they don't even evacuate people. Maybe they try, but that's probably not their top priority. It's like, okay, nope, blow it up. But sir, we still have troops on the ground. Fucking did I stutter? Exterminate them. And this kind of reminds me of, I know, again, Halo came after this, but this kind of reminds me of Covenants blasting the planets. This really reminds me of Reach, where they're just glassing all the different parts of the planet, rendering it uninhabitable, just from high or low orbit or wherever they are. God damn, this is beautiful and destructive all at the same time.
Memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option when you think about it. Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put in.
Well, it kind of makes sense if they're a secret police. I'm sure they're badass and super strong, but they don't sound like they're a force in and of themselves where it's a bunch of secret police are in the battlefield. That doesn't sound like the role. So it kind of makes sense, I guess, for them to just like, oh yeah, you'll add one for whatever it is. I don't know much about the tabletop, but whatever buff or whatever utility it provides, it makes sense that you would just want to add like one to it, because that sounds kind of like what they do. They go around and they go to places solo, maybe, I don't know, maybe multiple of them, but they don't sound like a squad for killing a bunch of other people.
Into them, and they're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well, because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of Space Marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story. It's not as interesting. Having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because
they should make a movie.
More humanity.
Make a movie.
Warhammer, horrible grimdarkness. And wow, we just finished the humans. All right, come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos gods.
The what?
And all
right.
The Chaos Marine legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the Orcs and oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
All right, and yeah, and I'll see you in part 2. I'll try to get that out soon after this one, but please leave any other recommendations down in the comments below. I'm loving everything I'm learning about it. Still, a lot of it's going over my head, but I'm definitely learning way more than I knew beforehand. And it's been a lot of fun. And I also stream on Twitch. There should be a link in the comments and description, and consider joining the Discord. And I will talk to y'all next time. Take care. Bye.